South Florida. Write Your Narrative podcast is your street art soundtrack. This is where the culture speaks. Welcome to the podcast.
So, hi everyone. Today on Write Your Narrative, we step into a sanctuary of color, energy, and healing. My guest is a Miami-based artist whose work bridges the world of art, spirituality, and community. Her debut solo exhibit, PYP Protect Your Peace at WYN 317 Gallery, invites us to meet our spirit guides, imaginary guardians that stand for inner strength, emotional protection, and balance. Through vibrant painting, meditative sculptures, and even guided digital mantras, she's creating a new kind of art experience, one where wellness meets wall space. Nico, welcome to the mic. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You very, very, very welcome. From the first day that I saw your art, this was, I believe, a fence that you painted right across from
Panther
Cafe. Yes, these 4 dog figures staring at the people. This was something else. I say, well, we have someone, I guess, new in the community somehow, but with a long history of art. So you are originally from West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Then you moved to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Then eventually came down here to South Florida to do some art.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's a little bit of that story? Why moving to Jacksonville and back and forth?
Well, the reason I moved to Jacksonville was so that I could surf, honestly.
Okay.
Because I was in high school. I was planning on going to college. I wanted to go to a college in Florida. And I basically wanted to go to a college on the East Coast so that I could continue surfing, because that was the most important thing to me in my life at that time.
Right.
So that's what led me to Jacksonville. And I actually kind of stopped surfing not long after moving there. And I kind of transitioned more to skateboarding and painting, mainly because the water was so cold. And I'm not really a big cold water person, but surfing is still a really special thing to me, and I'm happy that it brought me to Jacksonville.
So from surfing to art, how did your art find its way into your life?
From a very young age, I'm blessed to have parents that enabled me to attend different summer camps when I was young, and one of those summer camps was an art camp. And I think that my mom wanted me to go there because she knew that I had the artistic creativity gene in me, because my father was also somewhat of an artist and my grandfather was an artist as well. He was a drummer. So
musicians, yes.
Yes.
Artists, definitely.
Exactly. So I went to that summer art program at the Armory Art Center in West Palm Beach, which is a pretty well-known art space, and I started going to that camp specifically every summer because it was my favorite thing.
Yeah, so this is where usually, this must have been one of the moments when you realize that art might be your next stage in your life, the next course in your life, the next big thing.
Well,
yes and no.
I had a great experience at attending the summer camp and experimenting with all different creativity. And I also attended middle school and high school of the arts in West Palm Beach. But I didn't, as a senior in high school, my priorities were not to attend art school or to pursue art, because I had been told and I believed that art was, the starving artist stereotype.
It's the stereotype, yes.
I never really considered taking it seriously. And I also didn't have examples in my life of artists that showed me that it's possible to be a full-time professional artist. And I think that having an example is a really big part of what enables people to make that decision to take it seriously.
Absolutely, having a role model, someone. So who actually was that person? Later on in your life, someone came to your door, said, okay, you're going to be an artist.
I've had so many amazing mentors in my career, but it was actually a chiropractor. I didn't complete college. I did not graduate with a degree from UNF. I had a great experience in Jacksonville and attending that university, but difficult circumstances with roommates and I just had a difficult semester, and I decided to move home. And I ended up working for a chiropractor, and I was kind of the office manager and 2 chiropractors, and they taught me all of the philosophy behind chiropractic. They taught me about the law of attraction, which I didn't know anything about. And all of this stuff that they taught me, essentially, I kind of concluded, I'm good at art, I'm talented, I have the skills and I have the creativity. And based on what they've taught me, if I just focus 100% of my attention on that career path, I will succeed. So
very interesting.
They're the ones that motivated me to really start pursuing that path in life.
But usually when we mention art, we're thinking more about some painting on a canvas or doing something on a smaller scale. But how did you get into the streets? Really starting your first mural to the mural you painted last year at the Jewel building.
Jewel
I mean, the Jewel House, which is humongous. It's one of the biggest walls in Wynwood here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super honored that I got that opportunity, especially because these days most of the murals that are more ground level usually do get tagged, which,
Yes.
I understand and respect the culture of graffiti, but it's nice to have a piece that's high up and can, live for a long time.
So that was your first time working on a swing stage like this?
Yes, that was my first time working on a swing stage. I was
Must
super
have been.
nervous.
Yes.
I called all of my mentors and my friends who I know have experience with it. And ultimately it ended up being the most comfortable, luxurious way to paint a mural ever. It was amazing. I would do a swing stage on every wall.
Really? Would you? Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
So if you can explain the viewers, how do you, when you are so close to a wall, how can you gauge the scale of the wall? Is that something, how do you do this? You have one of these famous doodle grid or something? Yes.
So I started doing the doodle grid a long time ago when I was living in Jacksonville, maybe almost like
Even there.
8 or
Okay.
9 years ago. I was part of organizing a mural festival there, which brought some really incredible street artists from around the world. It was really a special and impactful project. Irina Kanisheva, she is the one that invited the artist, and she invited artists like Case McLean, WYN Nikaski
All right.
from the
Some big
Ukraine.
names, yes.
And I saw them do their version of the doodle grid. And so that's where I learned that method. So I did the doodle grid for a long time, but then eventually I switched it up to doing what I call now a tape grid, where instead of painting on the wall, I put tape, like pieces of tape on the wall.
Okay.
And I do this because I simply don't like the aesthetic of how it looks when you have a bunch of doodles on the wall and you're painting.
Yes.
And also because when you're painting, especially if you're painting in Wynwood or somewhere that's very public, every single person is going to stop and ask you what is going on, what is that?
Absolutely.
And as much as I don't want to gatekeep and I would love to educate the community, it's exhausting when you have to explain
Yes.
this method
I can imagine.
to every single person that's walking by. So I try to just eliminate that element.
Simplify the project, yes.
And also in photos and videos, I think it looks a lot better when you don't have the doodle grid
Okay.
there underneath. But that's just my personal aesthetic preference.
Yes, it's how you work, and there's nothing wrong with this. There's just so many ways of doing it, so many options. Now we have people using some the goggles, the whatever the
Yeah, the meta
meta thing. Yes,
I'm gonna try that soon. I can't wait to try that.
I'm pretty sure this year during Art Basel we're going to see more and more people doing it. I heard that 2 of the artists did it at the Jewel House already, painted this way.
Cool.
We had a
It's
really,
amazing.
really interesting podcast interview with Jill a couple of weeks ago, who
Oh, I love
curated the
Yeah.
project inside the Jewel House, and she told me that 2 people was using that meta, whatever it's called. I need to learn that at least, or I'm very, very curious about it. So that must be something interesting to see and to experience too.
Honestly, yeah, I'm very open to new forms of technology. A lot of people have opinions about a lot of things, projectors. I mean, when I was first starting, I got roasted by my graffiti friends for using a projector, like genuinely,
Yeah.
like it was cheating. And,
I've
now,
heard that so many times.
yeah, now everyone uses projectors.
Yes.
3D writers, everybody, you have to be open-minded and embrace new ways of doing things,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, the concept is, I feel, what's most important, and the execution.
This is the execution and the result. Because like we say, street art, it's on the street. It's for everybody to appreciate it. Of course, a tag can be appreciated too. It's much, much harder. A sticker can be appreciated too. But I mean, when you do that scale, those huge, huge painting, the room for error, even if there's not that much detail, not as much as a detail as a painting, I mean, it's kind of really slim. You need to get the scale right.
Yeah, and you just want to be efficient too, whatever
Absolutely.
can save me time. I'm super grateful and blessed to have a lot of opportunities, but not every opportunity pays a ton of money. So wherever I
Very
can
true.
save time, save energy, I'm open to new methods and ways of doing it.
Good. So your work blends nature, technology, spirituality in a really unique way. So part organic, part digital, part cosmic. So how would you describe your visual style to someone seeing it for the first time?
I love the way that you described it.
Well,
A couple
thanks to
of years
ChatGPT, I'm using it. Guys, you got to use it too, the right way.
A couple years ago, I kind of realized that my style could be called solar punk.
Okay.
And solar punk is essentially humans living in harmony with technology in a way that actually works in unison with nature and technology working together to help everything thrive, the environment, humans. But in our society, and just human nature, it's difficult to achieve and have success in that because we're so susceptible to greed and
very much so, yes.
especially in a capitalist society, quick and cheap is more valuable than what's really best for the environment and the world.
True.
So I love the idea of one day really living in harmony with nature and technology in a way that technology is not harming nature, but actually learning from nature and enhancing the power of nature. For example, I had an era where I was obsessed with mushrooms, not the hallucinogenic mushrooms, although I believe if that helps you, great,
Why not?
more power to you. But in mushrooms' ability to do so many things, mainly to cleanse our environment. They're the natural resource, the natural recycling powerhouse of the environment. And for example, if we have an oil spill in a water area, like a lake or a pond or a river, mushrooms can clean that.
Okay, I'm not aware of it, but yes.
So imagine if we invested so much money into just studying mushrooms and figuring out how to enhance their power and really,
Yeah, no, but I get that. And it's totally something in line that you said earlier that you used to surfboard and everything. So it's just okay, obviously when you are on the ocean, on your surfboard, you are close to nature. So this is something you have and you give that way. It's something that goes back and forth with your art and something that is obviously something very close to you. So now you call Miami your base, your city that has its own rhythm and pulse. So what is Miami specifically brought into your art? Was it something, the vibe? There's a special vibe in Miami that you like?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a special vibe in Miami. I've been coming to Miami for over 10 years now. Every year during Art Basel, other times, for other projects. And finally, 5 years ago, I moved here. But every time I would visit, as soon as I would drive into the city, I just felt a different vibration, a different energy shift.
Yes.
And here the glass ceiling is a lot higher than in a lot of places. There's a lot of opportunity for growth, connection, community. As someone who grew up in South Florida too, I'm very much a Florida girl, and I love the tropical elements. I love palm trees. I love nature. I love hibiscus flowers. And my mural on Jewel House was really inspired by Miami's unique aesthetic of being a place that has the most gorgeous, tropical, beautiful, flora and fauna
Yes.
juxtaposed against a very rough urban cultural edge. And I love where those two intersect. And there's a piece in my current show PYP that features a dog on a chain link fence surrounded by bougainvillea.
Yes.
So this is something I see all the time, that juxtaposition of the gorgeous bougainvillea with the rough chain link fence. And that's kind of an aesthetic and like an energy that I like to try to capture in my work throughout the years, which is a soft meets hard, feminine meets masculine, that has like a beauty but with an edge that both men and women can appreciate and be attracted to.
Yeah, it's the duality in between
Exactly.
the elements.
Yeah.
So street art has long been a male-dominated scene. But you carve your own lane. So how did you approach this, being a female artist on the street? Was it something hard? Was it something how did you get by?
To be honest, I didn't realize or recognize or acknowledge how little there were women a part of these things for a long time. I'm not sure. I've never felt like I've struggled or been left out or not been respected or not been treated right personally, but I don't want to say that it's not the case for a lot of women, because a lot of these industries are dominated by men. But whereas lately I've been trying to tap more into my feminine energy, I think I've been very much in my masculine energy for a long time with this. Just from the moment that I decided to pursue art seriously, I was just like, I would not take no for an answer. Like, persistence does not recognize failure is a quote that I like. Like, there's basically nothing that can stop me, no one that can stop me. Like, I'm going to learn every single thing I can to be successful, and that includes social interactions, that includes just being organized, professional. So very, very few times have I encountered situations where I felt like I was disrespected because I was a woman, or not like valued as much as, because I'm a woman. But knowing that a lot of other people don't have the same experience that I do for a variety of different reasons. They might not have access or exposure to the things I do. I'm privileged in a lot of ways, and when I was pursuing my career as well, compared to a lot of women in the world in general. So when I was living in Jacksonville, a lot of my time and energy and focus was spent on community programming, organizing for youth, and also organizing for women. So I organized a few mural productions there in Jacksonville that were all women. We did two, we called ourselves the Cosmic Crystals. And It was really special. I mean, it is, especially, I acknowledge the women that came up in this industry years ago, because it was definitely more difficult. You didn't have access to other women that you could paint with or explore with or adventure with or go paint trains or go paint an abandoned building,
Yes.
And it's the same with surfing, and maybe that's why I wasn't uncomfortable, because in surfing it's kind of the same thing. There's more men than women, so you just kind of get comfortable with that reality. Same with skateboarding. But I do think it's very important to create safe spaces for women to connect and to just be able to paint and express themselves, where
it is crucial.
They don't have to worry
crucial.
about
must be respected.
Maybe a guy reaches out to them wanting to paint, and obviously we want to go paint, we want to learn, we want to explore, we want to practice, but maybe we don't know the intentions, maybe we just aren't sure, maybe something in our past makes us fearful. The male energy can sometimes be a little, anxiety, cause a little bit of anxiety. So it's nice to have access to women that you don't have to feel, you can feel safe, basically.
Yes,
a safe space. So since I moved to Miami And before that, I was part of an international female graffiti crew, and I participated in a lot of mural productions with them over the years, and I learned a lot from them about graffiti, about productions, just about everything. And I used that knowledge to continue organizing mural productions here in Wynwood, which I haven't done. Well, actually, we did one last year that I organized with some local and traveling women, but one of the last big ones we did, we had over 60 women participating.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Awesome.
so beautiful, so amazing, a lot of work, extremely
Sure.
time consuming, and that's why I've kind of taken a little bit of a step back to focus on myself, but it was very rewarding. And I can still, to this day, I see people that met each other at one of our productions, or people were very impacted by those projects, and I just feel very proud of that. And I hope that we can continue bringing women together and providing safe spaces.
Good. So you have a very, I noticed, and a lot of people can notice in your work, a recurring dog figure. Something strong, alert, and protective. So can you tell us a little more about that dog figure that you have?
Yes.
Something you mentioned, the dog behind the fence and with the hibiscus flowers, the duality. So what is that dog image, which was actually the very first painting that I saw on the street from you? So like we talked about.
So the dog, I honestly just started as an aesthetic thing. I really love how gorgeous and fierce the dog is, but also has the masculine energy as well of the aggressive and dominant. So I just like that figure, and I was painting it a lot. And the mural that you're referring to on the fence was something that impacted a lot of people. A lot of people really reacted to that. So it encouraged me to continue painting the dogs. And now today, the dogs have become a whole thing. It actually started when NFTs were happening. I was trying to come up with a concept that would be valuable as an NFT idea, and I came up with the Peace and Prosperity Pups, which is not what I'm calling it anymore, but basically the idea of dogs as an imaginary friend, an imaginary spirit guide and guard dog in life that guides you and protects you and helps you navigate difficult situations. And in my exhibition, I showcase the original series that kind of tells this story of the spirit guide. And then I also, for the first time, showcased a series of spirit guides inspired by the chakras.
Yes, this is exactly where I was going to. Protect Your Peace, which is a beautiful title. PYP, Protect Your Peace, which is a beautiful title and feels like a mantra. It's something really meaningful. I was absolutely blown away by the show, by the meaning, by the way it was displayed. Really what you did, and you did it at WYN 317. And thank you again for Danielle and Michelle for putting so much work in that, in our community with that WYN 317 galleries. Shout out to you girls. You know how much I love you, and I love the whole family. This is also something beautiful as a female empowerment.
Yeah.
That show, but the show was so well put together.
Thank you. I'm super proud of that.
You should be, you could be, you deserve to be, because this is absolutely incredible. So guide us through the process of that show, and why is it called Protect Your Peace?
So it's called PYP because that is the name of my brand. It's a clothing and lifestyle brand. I've really been inspired and interested in fashion for a long time, and I've wanted to create a brand for a long time, and it has evolved to now being PYP. Originally, it was BOL, which is being of love, being of light, but that's a bit of a tongue twister. PYP just kind of rolls off the tongue a bit better. So there wasn't a certain specific point where I just had this whole idea at once. It kind of all came together in different ways, but it's my first solo show ever. First, like, legitimate professional solo show. You know, it's been a long time. I displayed artwork in like restaurants and stuff like that, but this is my first legitimate solo exhibition. It's also a celebration of my 5th year in Miami, and I felt like it was a great opportunity to launch the brand and also really solidify the concept of the spirit guides, the dogs, because people have just responded so much to the dogs that I felt like I should, kind of bring it all together and make it a real thing. And so that's what PYP is. And I think anybody and everybody can get behind the concept of protect your peace.
Oh, this is something we need to do. We need to work together on protecting the peace in our everyday life. I mean, not to fight, not to just argue with everything, but just appreciate everything in life, which is not always easy. It is not an easy thing to do.
Life is short.
Life is really short. It is short.
And, I'm grateful for everything I've been through because it brought me to where I am today. But I wish, I could go back and protect my peace a little bit more in some moments of my life when I just was so drained and exhausted and just wasn't myself. I was very far away from myself. And if I can encourage and inspire other people to get out of difficult situations or simply make decisions that are more in alignment with inner peace, like their personal inner peace, then I'm happy to be able to do that.
We mentioned technology earlier, that you were trying to get into the NFTs and those things. So all the little spiritual guide statuettes, those little dog, each have an NFC chip in it?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Tell us a little bit about it, because I missed that part. I totally missed that part.
It's easy to miss. There was a lot going on at the show, so I tried my best to kind of display that element of the show and the project. But basically, one of my partners for the show, DG 3D Printing, he 3D printed all of my sculptures, and he's a really smart guy that's always kind of looking at the next thing, the next cool way we can get more tech and more, and he is the one that introduced me to the NFC tags. And so this was kind of an idea that I had after, I didn't know at the beginning I was going to do this.
Yeah.
But I had this idea to make the statuettes not just there for aesthetics or not just a beautiful little sculpture, but a tool for healing, so that if you're going through a difficult time or if you just want to practice daily balance, you can pick up your sculpture, open your phone, and bring the sculpture like close to your phone, and a link will pop up to a guided meditation. So when I started working on this show, I was hit with an unexpected wave of grief, which I honestly have not really been through before. I was not familiar with grief when this happened. But I was scared, I was nervous, like, am I going to be able to complete my show while feeling such heavy things and going through such a heavy time? But it actually added a lot more meaning and purpose to the show, knowing that I could create this tool that can help myself and other people when they're going through a difficult time to ground and get back to a grounded place and feel a bit more peace and balance.
So the show in itself is really an art experience. It is an experience. So what was the people's reaction to the show in general?
It was a very positive reaction. A lot of people told me that people have told me that my work has evolved. Like I guess the content and quality of my work has evolved, and that was something that I heard. And I guess just, I don't know, just a lot of positivity. Nothing crazy that I can think of.
Yeah. But there was any moment when someone brought you something that maybe you were not thinking of when you put the show together? Someone said, okay, they saw something that maybe was right or not right, but just something special. I was absolutely blown away by the show. Really, it's just, I already said it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, one of the coolest things about having a show and just making art in general is the different ways that people experience your art. Yes. And the different perspectives that people bring and the different ways that people sort of catalyze you to think about things, different things they notice about the work. Like, one friend of mine asked me if the dogs in the new Ascendance series inspired by the chakras, if they were male or female.
Interesting.
And I wasn't sure. My response at the time, personally, given that I, like I said, I've been sort of focused on tapping more into my feminine energy in the last couple years. For me, I guess they do have a more male presence because that's that's the male energy. That's what I relate with male energy, is like a protector, a leader, a provider. But female animals in general can also be extremely protective.
Absolutely.
So I guess it just depends on the time and the place and the person.
I can see that. Yes, that's actually a pretty interesting question. Pretty deep, because who knows? And at the end, does it really make a difference? It's really how you want to see it, perceive it. I mean, and appreciate the art in itself. But that's a really legit question.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm open to it. I'm open to all the ideas and thoughts and perspectives. You never know what one person, I always say this, one person can change your life. One moment, one statement, one person can completely change your life. So
yeah, one statement can change your life for sure. Something wrong, something that raises a question. And but really, I mean, this was beautiful, brilliant. So what's the next step for you now? What do you think is are you taking it all in for now? You already have some plans, I guess. Art Basel is just around the corner, and we are always talking about this time of the year.
Yeah, so the exhibition is up until December 1st. We have a couple of other events going on. November 7th which I guess this podcast is going to come out after November 7th. But we're doing an artist talk, me and Ivan Roque, which the gallery is split up into 2 different rooms, and he has an exhibition next door to my exhibition. So we will both be doing an artist talk about our exhibitions and being artists, stuff like that. After that, we have our second day of yoga and guided meditation in the gallery on November 15th with Agni, which is my favorite yoga studio. And then on December 1st, we have the closing reception of both shows, and also WYN 317's annual artist battle with Inter Miami. So every year, Inter Miami does an artist battle.
It's so much fun.
Which I got to participate in last year, and it was a very, very exciting, packed event, and I'm looking forward to it this year. I actually won last year, and so I'm pretty proud of that.
Right.
I got to go to one of the games with my best friend, and we had a great time. And I think that events and opportunities like that are special because that was very motivating for me and inspiring for me. You know, we always need a reason to keep going and keep pushing. But beyond the duration of the exhibition, after December 1st, my show will go to live at Shoe Gallery, which is a very iconic, legendary boutique from Miami. And I'm going to be doing essentially the first PYP pop-up at the Shoe Gallery. And I'm going to have a couple paintings on display. I'm going to have some of the sculptures on display. I'm going to have my merchandise on display. And I'm going to be doing some activations with Shoe Gallery, and I've worked with them for the last few years in many different ways, and they've always been super supportive. They're also very cutting edge and progressive when it comes to fashion and style, so I'm super grateful for that. Beyond Miami Art Week, I've been really inspired lately because I recently had a phone call with a friend of mine who lives in Costa Rica, which when I was 13 years old, when I was like peak surfer girl, you know, lifestyle, I went to Costa Rica for the first time. I fell in love. I went back like 11 times over the next 10 years. I haven't been for a long time now, but I really kind of grew up there in a lot of ways in a small town called Pavones. And when I was a young surfer girl, that was really my dream, to travel the world and visit beautiful places like this. I would watch surf movies. I would read surf magazines. I would watch skate movies, you know, just that's what we did back then. And I kind of realized, you know, now I can make my own surf movies. I can make my own skate videos. I can sponsor trips for artists, surfers, and skaters to travel around the world, travel to Costa Rica, paint, surf, skate, and also connect with local communities, educate, donate murals to schools or community centers, and also teach young locals in different areas. So I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping to organize a trip with a group of people and a PYP trip, basically.
Okay. And paint over there some murals, some
murals, surfing,
yes.
skating, and basically make a documentary about it, or
good.
or at least a YouTube video, because I'm working on developing my YouTube.
Good.
And so yeah, I'm really excited about all the possibilities of what PYP can do as a brand.
2 weeks ago, we had Info on the podcast, and he's a big snowboarding guy. So all the surfing, snowboarding, they use those boards they need to be decorated somehow. So your art would look absolutely stunning on
Yeah, I used to paint my surfboards all the time. Yeah, when I was first becoming like a real artist, I painted so many people's surfboards. Oh my gosh, I painted like 100 surfboards probably.
So that's something that you eventually, are you in a talk with some companies eventually to bring your art to them? I'm sure they're open to so many artists, and there's some cult artists of some of these brands.
I would love to collaborate. I have friends who make surfboards. I honestly kind of just recently started getting back into surfing and realizing how much it is a part of my identity and how much I want to keep it as a part of my life. And so I'm really excited for all the possibilities that we can bring art and surfing, creativity, health, wellness together.
Definitely, yes. A brand like Billy Bong, something like this. Oh, I could see your art t-shirt,
for sure,
cap on all those things they do. That would be totally fun.
Yeah.
So Nico, thank you so much for that time. Thank you so much for sharing your passion and the meaning of what you're doing with us. I mean, this is something that I've been supporting the local art community for this past 15 years. Really, for you guys, for my local guys, I'm rooting so hard, and I have so much respect, love for you guys. I mean, this is really something special. And when you share something like you just did with us on camera now, it's super special. So Protect Your Peace is not just an exhibition, but it's a reminder to guard your sacred inside. You can catch the show until the end of November, we said, till December 1st. So don't sleep on it. I mean, this is just an incredible show. You may have a chance to see it after that, but WYN 317, the way it is put together, it's just so magnificent. Nico, thank you so much. I had a chance we had a little talk last year during Art Basel with Sophie Mace, but this year this was just about you, your art, and everything. So
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Guys, we'll see you in a couple of weeks with another podcast interview. At this point, I don't know who my guest is, but we'll see. I'm sure we'll get some scoop again. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Nico, once again, thank you. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye now.